Hey guys, it's Josh with No Dad, No Problem, featuring how-tos, interviews, and reviews you can use. So it's launch day for Disney Plus, so I wanted to do a full review of the launch day content to help you make an informed decision. I've downloaded the app on both my LG Smart TV and onto my iPad, and so far the apps have been seamless and smooth on both, running pretty much the same. Setting up an account with Disney took me about 3 minutes. There is a free trial that's offered, but you will need a credit card to secure your account, so just be aware of that. But let's get straight to the content and what's offered. Here we go. Alright, so let's start with the application. Let's see, across the top of the app you'll see banners for highlighted marquee content. Now clicking on the banner will give you the option to play it if it's a movie right away. I'm going to show that here. I'm going to click on the Avengers Endgame. Add. And it pops up here. We can click the play button. Something I also really like about it. So if you scroll down a little bit and you go to the extras column, when we go to the extras, we can see that there's basically the kind of bonus footage that you'd get if you were to purchase a Blu-ray or a DVD of it, which I think is a really nice touch that they've had. Alright, so let's back on out of this, go back to the main screen here. Below that, there's the 5 major areas that they cover. Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. We'll talk about each one of those. First, let's just start with Disney, so I'm going to click on that. Under the originals column, you can see they have listed Lady and the Tramp, which is actually a Disney Plus exclusive. It's sort of a live-action remake of the original Lady and the Tramp movie. I've yet to watch it, but I'll watch it within the next week. You can see there's High School Musical, the series, and some other Disney originals that I'm not overly familiar with. Under the live-action movies, we have some of the recent releases like Dumbo, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the last one, as well as some classics like the 1964 release of Mary Poppins. It's pretty full in there. So far, I'd say that the content that they're offering is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. But then we get to the bread and butter, the animated movies. Oh, if you haven't heard the Frozen song 1,000 times, well, you're missing out, or probably aren't. But they have Frozen, with Frozen 2 going to be making its premiere in theaters shortly. Moana, which is actually probably my favorite of the new Disney movies. Tangled, The Lion King, the original, which is just an untouchable classic. I didn't think they really needed to do the live-action version of it. Big Hero 6, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Really, when it comes to the animated films, they're all there. It's great. You've also got the Disney Channel series for your preteens and teens who might like that kind of thing, as well as for kids. They have the new DuckTales series, and if we scroll over a little bit further, they have the original DuckTales series, which I preferred. And again, out of the vault, they're coming up with their movies from the Disney Vault that have been locked away for so long. Really, I think that this is a great value. 90s throwbacks. Newsies, one of my favorite musicals ever. Hocus Pocus, which seems to be becoming more of a cult classic as time goes along. Flubber with the late, great Robin Williams. Just fantastic selection in here. Disney Channel original movies, I'd be lying if I said that I was really up to speed on Descendants and Descendants 2 and all of those kinds of movies. Just not really my thing. Mickey Mouse Through the Years, coming from Steamboat Willie all to, the modern era. If you want to just focus on the princesses, they have the princess movies all and shows all broken out. And then the Disney Junior series. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is a big hit around my house, as I have a 1.5-year-old child, and he absolutely loves it. But a lot of cartoons. So I think that's a pretty good coverage of what's offered in just the general Disney area. Now the next selection is going to be Pixar. And again, I would say so many classics. Pixar hasn't been around nearly as long as Disney has been, but you've got your Finding Nemo, your Finding Dory, Monsters University, Monsters Inc., the Cars movies, Toy Story, they have a lot of Toy Story content. Some of the Toy Story content that they don't have is Toy Story 4 isn't available yet. But I believe that's just because it's still a newer release and it's on the Blu-ray format. They're still making plenty of sales of that in stores. Inside Out. Let's see. Up is just a heartwarming film. Brave was a great one. Last one on the list for that is The Good Dinosaur. We finally watched The Good Dinosaur in my house. We absolutely loved it. Just an adorable film. The originals, some of these are just shorts that have been made. They're good. Toy Story, again, it's broken down. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, and then different shorts. The one thing I noticed for Toy Story, the content that they didn't have available was the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command cartoon. But that's all right, I guess. Breaking down cars. Again, with plenty of shorts that you may or may not have seen. Unlikely Heroes, which a lot of it, again, is coming from the other column, but it's just organized differently for your convenience. Again, shorts. If you haven't seen the La Luna short, I highly, highly recommend it. And then Pixar Through the Years. The third option is Marvel. Now, just so everyone is aware, there have been 23 Marvel films that were made, and of those, 16 of the 23 Marvel films are available. So that leaves 7 of the films that aren't available on Disney Plus at the moment. This really comes down to an ongoing rights and licensing issues. Disney has a licensing deal with Netflix that's going to be expiring, which will bring some of the movies back, but there are complications with the Spider-Man franchise, as well as the original Hulk movie, that may keep them off of Disney Plus for quite some time. Hulk, I believe, was through Universal, and Spider-Man has had a very publicized, Disney's had a publicized fight with Sony over that. You'll also notice, there's a lot of content that's on here. A lot of the cartoons are out there. But you'll notice that you don't have the Marvel content of things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Runaways, The Defenders, and the various other Marvel series outside of the main movies, and a good support, but you do get a good portion of the supporting cartoons. Now we'll go to the portion that I was the most excited about, Star Wars. Now with it here, going to the movies, Episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, and Rogue One. If you'll notice, it does not have Solo, and it does not have The Last Jedi. That is, again, because of distribution deals. I believe that Netflix has the distribution on those at the current time. As soon as that distribution deal is expired, those will be appearing. There is a lot of content on here. The new Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, I did a review of the first episode of that, a non-spoiler review. It was great. The Clone Wars cartoon, as well as Star Wars Rebels. I loved Star Wars Rebels as a cartoon. I thought it was great. I haven't really been able to get into Resistance, but that's just me as a fan. People are going to like different things. And a lot of the Lego cartoons. When you look at the specials, there's the Empire of Dreams. And the thing about it is, there's a ton of Star Wars content here. Keep you busy for hours and hours and hours and hours and days on end. Especially when you look at like the Clone Wars cartoon, where I believe there were 6 seasons of that. Well, 6.5 technically. And then they're going to be releasing new episodes for that as well. Now, there is some Star Wars content that is not available on here. I don't know if it's ever going to become available. That would include the Star Wars Holiday Special, which if you haven't seen, you're not missing much. It was absolutely terrible. The 2 Ewok Adventure movies. The original Droids and Ewok cartoons that came out in the 1980s. And the original Clone Wars TV micro-series that came out in 2003, that came out in about 3-minute clips at a time on the Cartoon Network. The last major option that they have out there is National Geographic. Now, I'm not as familiar with the National Geographic lineup, but it does have some exclusives that I'm looking forward to watching, including The World According to Jeff Goldblum. There's stuff with Gordon Ramsay. I'm a fan of his, but he swears a little more than I prefer to watch. I don't know if he does on this show or not, but there's plenty of classic episodes from shows like The Dog Whisperer. Under the movies, shows the documentary Free Solo, which was an absolutely fantastic documentary film. And it's got plenty of investigative documentaries as well on a variety of topics. So there is a great amount of content, and for the right audience, I'm sure that they would love this and eat this up. I'm just not really that target audience. I'm sure I'll watch some of it, but it's not going to be the first thing that I go to. So, okay, back and back to the main menu. We can see that they have offerings out here like The Simpsons. So for The Simpsons, they literally have 29 seasons of The Simpsons. That's a heck of a lot of value right there. They have some great films for teens and for young adults, like Remember the Titans. They have wonderful musicals, like I mentioned Newsies before, and The Sound of Music. TV shows where you see stars get their jump into stardom, like Hannah Montana and That's So Raven. And my second favorite part behind Star Wars on here is what'll fall under the nostalgic movies. Now, when I look at the nostalgic movies, I see so many films that I watched as a kid. I watched The Parent Trap, may not have been the greatest ones, but Old Yeller is on there. That's a film that made me cry when I was a little one. Great adventure films like Willow, which I really think is one of the greatest adventure films ever made. When we scroll over, there's movies like The Black Hole, which was a fantastic science fiction. I don't want to call it a masterpiece, but it was really good. And then another film that I had actually forgot about until I got onto the service, Flight of the Navigator. It's just really exciting to me to see all this stuff. The big thing for me when I'm looking at this content and is it worth the money is there something for everyone in my family? So I'm in my 40s. My bride has been 29 for quite a few years now. Our eldest child is 14, and our youngest is a year and a half, with 2 more kids squished in between there. So for us, this service is a no-brainer. I bought the year for $70, so that's a reasonable cost of less than $6 per month, bought as a whole year subscription. And the way I kind of looked at it is I get 4 months worth of service for the cost of 1 Blu-ray. So that's our review. This is a wonderful, expansive collection of film and TV shows that provides great value for viewers of all ages. I'm sure they'll add more content as time goes on, and I'm already anxiously awaiting the next episode of The Mandalorian. So let us know if you have questions in the comments section, or if we missed anything of importance or didn't answer the questions that you have. Please consider subscribing to our channels for new how-tos, interviews, and reviews that you can use added weekly. Be well, be blessed, be loved, and have the best day ever.